Well, you know what? We never really need an intro, do we? At this point, we are a focal point here on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Now we're a focal point on 102.9 The Game. We're everywhere. My name is Robbie Lastella, along for the ride seat tonight with my co-host Toby Schulman, Drew Shula, and Christian Proscia. We got a bunch of hot topics to talk about tonight with you guys. FAU athletics, pros, everything, announcers stepping away from the game. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that went on over the weekend, and I got a crew to talk to you guys about it tonight. Before we dive into it, though, how was everybody's weekend? We'll start with Toby, who ditched out on the FAU spring game to go play golf.
Hey, I did it. I did it to go play with a friend that I have not seen in a while. So it was a good time. I did some research on the spring game, took some notes for it. So I'm doing good though, Robbie. It was a good weekend, despite not going to the spring game. It was a good weekend. But
All right. Drew, how about you?
It was a great weekend. I was in the same boat as you. We were both up in the press box. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I was doing a little bit of a thread, play by play for the red versus white game. While me and Robbie were in the press box, while Christian was down taking some great photos as always. But yeah, great weekend.
Yeah, no, this weekend was pretty awesome. Just being able to, I had a doubleheader. I went from the spring game out to support beach volleyball, with a couple ranked matchups down on the down on the beach. Got to support the Sandy Owls. But yeah, no, it was a great weekend full of FAU athletics, and yeah, let's dive right into it.
See, no one mentioned the biggest. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love FAU. I love the spring game. It was electric. But it's Masters weekend. It's Masters Monday right now. The day after the Masters is over. It was a good tournament. Scotty Scheffler won 11 under his second Masters title. He's the world number one now for 80 weeks. Dude's a golfer. I was gonna say he's a hooper, but I guess he's a certified golfer at this point. Masters wins now 2022 and 2024. Yeah, I mean he was Aberg. He was in second. He finished four under. So it wasn't really too close between Scheffler and the next person. Any of you guys tune into the Masters at all, or was it just FAU spring game only?
I tuned in a little bit. I tried to watch a little bit of the final round, especially, and a little bit on Saturday for the moving day. But the broadcast is just terrible. It starts at 3 p.m., usually ends at 7. I mean, the players tee off way before that, so you're missing a lot of the round. I just wasn't a fan of that personally, but there's a lot of cool stuff to take away from the Masters, and I'm sure we'll get more into that. But I want to hear what the rest of you guys have to say about it.
I tuned in for a little bit, but I'm kind of in the same boat as Toby. I didn't watch the full thing, but my guy Colin Morikawa, he couldn't pull off the upset, but that's my guy. But yes, dude, Scotty Scheffler, he just played great, man. He's the best player in the world for a reason. So he proved it. That's for sure.
I'm going to be honest. I don't watch golf. I do play golf. The extent of my golf knowledge is Happy Gilmore. So, listen, as long as nobody got their hand taken by an alligator and all of it was all in your hip, it was a good weekend of Masters.
I think we got to roll the clip now because I'm not sure certain Christian has ever seen golf. Steven.
His stardom confirmed.
Now for Scheffler. 10th all-time in PGA Tour money. And you know who's in first, though? Tiger. Tiger's in first with $120 million.
Damn.
And Scheffler's in 10th. He's at $57 million. So there's still a lot of money to be earned for Scheffler. I think he's only 27. But Tiger's up there, and he played this weekend. Finished in dead last, unfortunately. He had his worst round ever on what was it? Yeah, on Saturday, he put up an 82.
Hang him up, Tiger. Hang him up.
But he at the same time, Drew, he was happy with how he played. It's his first time making the cut this year, I believe. So, he didn't play well on Saturday. He finished with a 77 on Sunday, dead last. But the cool story I think is he played the last round with the low amateur grad student from Ohio State, Neil Shipley. That could be one of us guys. I mean, I don't have enough
Yeah,
time left, but Drew, Toby, Christian, you guys got some years left at FAU. Go check out the golf team and get your game right, and then who knows? Maybe you guys can be the low amateur playing next to Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
that's all this.
range.
Well, other way. That's all this guy.
I got the range, man. That was a really cool moment to see Shipley get the chance to play with a guy like Tiger. But going back to Scheffler, Robbie, because I want to see what you guys think about this. Is he one of the most dominant athletes that's not getting like credit right now? Because I feel like after the Masters win, you obviously get credit where it's deserved. But like you said, Robbie, that was what, his 9th win in 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty dominant in the sport. I mean, you don't see that often.
It is, and I think part of it has to do with Live. I mean, I feel like Live and the money that goes into the Live golf tournament does take some eyes away from the regular PGA Tour itself. Now, I mean, I don't think Scotty Scheffler is completely off the face of the earth. I mean, as we've seen, he's made $57 million. So he's making money through endorsements and on the course. But I think it's a golf issue also in the fact that it doesn't do the best job at promoting its superstars like you see in some other sports. We need Scotty Scheffler on a billboard. We need Scotty Scheffler on ESPN doing a feature interview. I mean, I'm sure they did their interviews at the press conferences after, but where was Scotty Scheffler today on the Pat McAfee show? I mean, why isn't Scotty Scheffler on the Lastella report right now? Like
You
we,
got me, top golf champion, can't even hit it off the tee, but I've won a game of putt putt one time. So
Steve, but people like Christian are the issue because like there's so many people out there that are not fans of golf, but there's things like Top Golf and other things like that can get the people into the game, but the PGA has to find a way to implement those superstars into every aspect of the game, whether it's Top Golf, putt putt, whatever it is. I don't know. Christian, did you hear about him before this podcast episode? Besides on ESPN?
Point proven.
See, exactly what it is. I mean, and Christian is not by any stretch of the imagination a sports nerd. He knows sports. It's just golf doesn't promote how they should. So you miss an opportunity with a fan of pretty much every other sport. I mean, the guys out there photographizing beach volleyball, but never heard of golf. So, or never not watched golf. So, I don't know.
I feel like I'm catching a stray, low key. I'm not even gonna lie.
Well, no, but you put yourself in the example of so many fans out there who don't watch golf. And I mean, a lot of my friends who watch the NBA, NFL, MLB, they don't know who's. I mean, they probably still think Tiger Woods is winning championships out here, winning Masters. And I mean, he was a couple years ago, but not recently. But I don't know. Going back to Tiger though, I want to see him go out strongly. He mentioned that he's prepping for Valhalla, which is the PSA, Pinehurst, which is the U.S. Open, and then Troon, which is the British. And I don't know if he needs to make it all the way to the British. I think he needs to go out strong at the PGA and call it quits, like Drew said, because at some point it's gonna be he's gonna ruin his numbers. I mean, he put up his worst score ever, and at some point he's just got to realize, like, okay, my son is giving me coaching pointers out here. I think it's time to hang it up.
And it's not getting any better. You said it. It's gonna get uglier and uglier. Hang him up while you can. That's my opinion on that.
One person actually did hang it up at the Masters this weekend. Steven, if you got the clip, I think it was Tiger and the guy who retired, Vern Lundquist. You may have heard of him if you're haven't heard of him. Electric college football announcer for many years, and has done the Masters also since I believe the 1986. That is something. And he finished up on 16, perched where he's been, I think, for the last 20 years or so. So that's the end of an announcing era for Vern, as he's officially done with college football and the Masters. Jim Nantz may be taking the same path soon enough, which that one will be sad, even more sad than Vern Lundquist. Vern Lundquist had some great college football calls, and he had Tigers hole-in-one call in 2005 on 16. But Nantz just has that it factor that I don't even not many people have, even the great Vern Lundquist. But best of luck to Vern in his retirement.
He has told the story of the Masters, and he has the appreciation of all of us, the appreciation of Tiger Woods. Vern, we thank you.
Actually comes out for these next three tournaments. We shall see. But I think what we were all really focused on this weekend was the FAU spring game. I mean, I watched the Masters on Sunday myself. I wasn't watching on Saturday because I was dialed in. I was dialed in at the FAU spring game all day, pretty much. Drew, why don't you start us off with some thoughts on the FAU spring game, since I think that was your first game credentialed for, I think. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
my first credentialed game. So it was different. It was exciting to see what FAU offered media. I was very impressed for a G5 school like us, what we offer the media. We really do have a beautiful football facility and stadium. But yeah, there's the sheet. Shout out Genesis. But yeah, just into the game. A lot of thoughts. And one thing, I guess, for me at least, what I want to see out of a spring game, because there's two sides to it. Some people want to see a lot of offense, but me, that means the defense. They weren't on their cues, miscommunications, missed tackles, all that. I want to see a competitive game, and that's what I saw. It started off a little bit sloppy for the offense. The first drive, there was three. It was a 3-and-out. The second drive was a 3-and-out as well, and we didn't have a completed pass within two drives. But then both quarterbacks kind of started to pick up their groove, and they were able to put together some well-maintained drives. I was overall impressed. The quarterback competition was the main storyline coming in. I thought Cam Fancher, the quarterback from Marshall, who transferred in, played well, and I thought Tyreek Starks looked so much better than he did last year. It's this and this, and Tyreek he's the most improved player on the football team. Very impressed of that. Impressed on the new running back room, C.J. Campbell. He had 5 rushes for 95 yards, the transfer from Florida State. Jamari Sands rushed for over 4.5 yards a carry and got in the end zone. He's had a great spring. And then just overall the new weapons, I'll let someone else talk about them if they want.
Yeah, Christian, how did it look on the field? How was spring football? I think that was your first football game of the spring. You didn't make it down to Miami. Showed love to FAU instead. How'd it go for you? And what do you think of the newcomers?
Yeah, no, I loved what I saw from spring. Like Drew spoke about. My biggest winner was Tyreek Starks. He had what, over 150 yards passing, like 30 yards rushing, but he also had 3 touchdowns. He had a great performance, in my opinion. I thought that he looked dominant, and like Drew said, he's night and day from what he was last year. The coaches, especially the offensive coordinators, have been raving about him, saying that he really dove into the playbook and just took the next step to becoming a college quarterback. And it showed that hard work, preparation, and the time in the lab really paid off. Um, other than Ty, I loved the running backs. I'm loving the use of the tight ends in our offense. We have a lot of athletic tight ends. And I liked how they looked on blocking assignments. I liked how they looked in 25 and out, and I liked how they looked in red zone and then goal line situations. Zeke Moore actually found the end zone in a red zone drive. So I think that the tight ends are going to be FAU's unsung hero for next year. Defensively, we had 3 interceptions. Somebody had 2. His name is escaping me.
Antonio Smith.
Smith.
Antonio Smith had 2 interceptions. Both of them were very athletic. Other defensive backs like Darius McClendon looked very good. I thought, because I was especially watching Debo, he looked really good in press coverage. And then on the front seven, I liked Latrell Jean's game a lot. I think he's going to really break out and show that he's the leader for this defense. He had multiple tackles and a sack.
All of that, I mean, I agree with. Really, who stood out to me, number one, was Omari Hayes. Exploded in the slot. He came out of nowhere. He didn't play much last year, had the injury. If you ask him, he was behind LeJontay Wester. I didn't. He talked about it in the press game about how everyone in that room was behind LeJontay, and he believes that now with him transferred, he'll get some snaps. Um, it depends. It really depends how FAU structured it. It wasn't really like freshmen and like walk-ons playing. It was really like second and third stringers versus first stringers. Chef Tom's question here on the screen: do many of the spring team play in the regular season? Uh, FAU is not the type of school that'll send out all the freshmen and stuff. A lot of those guys who played in the spring game, they're going to be playing on Saturday in the fall. And that's another huge thing about FAU that they didn't really have last year was depth. They didn't have any depth. When corners went down, we were playing safeties in the slot. If LeJontay went down last year, I don't know. It might have been a good thing. No, not that the injury would have been a good thing, but it would have got the offense to open up a little bit. That's something we'll get to see this year. Going back to Hayes, Milan Tucker, he's a newcomer. Amari Hayes isn't a newcomer, but Milan Tucker, he's new. He flashed on the scene in that spring game. I don't know if his touchdown stood or not in the first half. The world may never know. The white team, I think it was, or maybe it was the red team. One of the teams, they were given 1 point on a touchdown, a 41-yard strike on a drag route from Tyreek Starks to Milan Tucker. And Tucker took it probably about 35 yards, run after catch, and took it to the crib. There was a flag on the play. Point never got taken down, and according to the stat sheets, that touchdown stands. I mean, Caleb Coombs, I think he had like 3 catches on the day. That's a guy who came in here with big expectations. Dom Henry, another guy. So it's like there's so many weapons in that wide receiver room and on the end of the DB room. I just think that the depth for FAU is going to be critical this year. And we'll see how it all plays out. Only 2 injuries in the spring game, which is a good thing. You'd rather have none, but Jordan Church went down with a leg injury, and Wendell Philord with a bit of a head injury. But I really think after that spring game, I don't know how you guys are feeling, but Herman mentioned the culture shift, and that's what he wanted to at least show the fans in a spring game where it's really, you can't really say, okay, this guy is the best thing since sliced bread. But do you guys walk away? I mean, Toby, you didn't get to go, so unfortunately can't go to you for this question. But Christian and Drew, do you guys walk away from that spring game with like what Herman said? Do you look at that team and look, okay, wow, this team is a lot more unified than they were last year? Or can you not really tell that from a spring game? And did we get coach talked?
Christian, you can go first.
I personally was I was happy with how the spring game ended up shaking out. I did think the biggest reason of why I was very invested with the spring game is to see how a completely new offense would end up shaking out, because they've only been together for about 6 to 7 weeks. So being able and only practicing for 3 weeks, I think that them being able to go out there and put on a clinic, because I do believe that they had a very good showing with a bunch of new guys. Everybody just built chemistry together. Everybody just trusted each other in game situations more. And I think that this is going to carry into summer workouts, mandatory workouts, and then bringing that right into Michigan State. But also something that Coach Rock spoke about is some of the best talent isn't even on campus yet. Like, we have a bunch of incoming freshmen who are going to be day one guys that are going to be able to get thrown into game time situations early and show why that their elite players. One of the dudes who Coach Rock was raving about, who I can personally attest to, is 3-star safety from Palm Beach Gardens, Michael Wright, who is a Ed Reed type safety. He's a Brian Dawkins type safety. He will come over the top and he will knock the ball loose. He will knock your head off your shoulder. Mike Wright is a dog, and he is going to be a valuable asset for this FAU team for the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I agree. And sticking to those freshmen, I think the big storyline from our recruiting class this year is we got 3 stud safeties, Michael Wright being one of them. Kyle Boylston's going to be a 2-sport star, baseball, football. He'll be a fan favorite. I know Toby will be watching him closely on the baseball field. And maybe the best of them all, CJ Hurd, who committed recently and was the top uncommitted player in the class. But yeah, just back to your question, talking about the culture shift. I think it's hard to tell kind of the culture shift from a spring game perspective, just due to the fact that I think you could tell a team's culture when they face adversity, and it's probably easiest to tell that when we play games against other schools. But overall, just from the spring game compared to last year, I think I noticed what this team's more organized. This team's a little more locked in compared to last year. I think last year what I took away was, all right, this team's a little sloppy. They got some talent, but LeJonte Wester can ball, and he's going to be our best player, and that proved to be apparent. But I just think, some more guys that aren't getting enough love. I think Jarrett Geralds was awesome. He had a few tackles for losses in the spring game. He'll be one of our top linebacker players. And I think, what's the dude's name? Shoot, I forgot it. But Bugs Brown, Kazir Bugs Brown, he had a great game. Contested a ball early on Marlon Johnson, who's a 6'4" wide receiver. Not an easy thing to do, but Bugs looked great. He should be a starting cornerback for us. And I think one thing we're not even talking about too is that a lot of our players aren't even here on. I mean, Christian talked about the freshmen, but the transfer portal is going to open back up. Last year we brought in, Casey Thompson was our starting quarterback. Jackson Ambush was our starting linebacker. Desmond Tisdale starting weak side linebacker. So there's a lot of players that are still going to touch campus. So based on what I saw, I'm very optimistic because it's only going to get better from here.
So you guys are telling me I completely forgot about CJ Hurd, Kyle Boylston, and Mike Wright. Like, I mean, I know who they are, obviously, but we already have Bugs Brown, Jaden Williams, Philip Dunham in that secondary unit, and now we're adding 3 guys right there. In my opinion, like Christian was saying, I agree. They can play day one, and the fact that, especially with a guy like Wright, homegrown talent, it's the best way to do it. That 5'6"
Nobody better than Palm Beach County talent.
No, the Tri-County takeover was real for Coach Rock. And Christian's been in the depths of it. I mean, he can attest. They're covering high school football all year. And I think now if FAU continues to build up that NIL, they're going to be a serious player for a lot of this talent down here, Christian. I mean, how many of these guys do you think would rather play in front of their family than go up to a UF or FSU? If it's like go to UF, FSU and be a second or third stringer, or go to FAU and start.
Well, to bring up FSU, Palm Beach County has 5 players in the 2024 graduating senior class that are signed and committed to Florida State. There are 5 FSU Seminoles and 2 of them are in tally already. But when it comes to FAU, and I don't know if anybody saw the screen when you immediately started talking about it, I smiled because I know we got 2 kids that they're about to pop a commitment. They've both told me. I am not at liberty to name drop, but just know our receiver room is about to get some more depth, and our defensive backs are about to get even deeper. FAU is really diving in on Palm Beach County, which is good because Palm Beach County in the landscape of college recruiting gets overlooked. Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast do not get heavily recruited the same way that Broward and Miami-Dade. Everybody would love to go down to the crib and get a kid from Chaminade, get a kid from St. Thomas Aquinas, but there's kids 45 minutes up the road at Palm Beach Central, at Santa Lucius, at West Boca, at Atlantic, who are the top 4 schools in Palm Beach County that are just as good. They just don't have some of the flashier names, even though there is multiple 3 and 4 stars in this county. So I think FAU is doing a great job at staying local, staying true to the roots, recruiting Palm Beach County. And yeah, the biggest selling point for a lot of these kids, especially when I talk to them about playing at FAU, is my mom gets to go to 6 of my games every year. My mom gets to sit front row at some of my games. If I'm going, I'm gonna just use Colorado because they're halfway across the country. Like, mom might be able to get to one game, one home game, whatever the closest regional away game is. Here at FAU, you're driving 20 minutes down the road, and then after the game, your roommates, whoever, y'all are going home, and mom's making dinner, and you're about to get a real good dinner.
That's the real question, Robbie. How many DBs do we need? You know, Christian bringing up another DB commit soon. It's getting really,
Making me
really
smile
loaded.
because that one is a steal. When he commits, hats off to FAU recruiting, because that is highway robbery for us.
Drew, the portal giveth and the portal taketh away, though. So, we talked, Coach Rock didn't want to give too much praise to Philip Dunham because he didn't want the other teams hearing that and coming right after him. Not saying that Philip Dunham's with one foot out the door by any stretch. I think Herman talked about, there's no guys that they're comfortable losing that are leaving. Or there's no guys that they're not comfortable losing that are leaving. There are guys that they are comfortable with that are hitting the portal. And I don't think he'd be comfortable with Philip Dunham hopping in that portal after 1 year, or left after one spring game, let alone 1 year. NIL in Paradise, though, it sounds like it's booming. I know where most definitely it's booming. It's in basketball. We're going to talk about basketball and beach volleyball after a quick commercial break here on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. We got that coming up for you after the break, along with some baseball talk with our lead baseball reporter Toby, both MLB and FAU baseball. So stay here with us, hang along after the break. We'll be right back for we're on 102.9 The Game for Bleacher Brothers with Lastella Report. We will be right back. I think.
Never mind.
Well, we'll hang out with you. I was told we'll do a commercial break at the half hour mark, but I don't know. I guess we'll hold off on that. We'll come back to it. I don't know if our producers will like us skipping. Yeah, I don't know if our producers will like us skipping the commercial break, but thanks for hanging out with us through that strenuous commercial break. We're back. I don't know how to play that off. But Christian, so I was going to come into this after the break, but I guess we'll just dive into it right now. How was beach volleyball, bro? You were the only one who went out. Shame on us, I guess, but props to you, Christian, for going out there and covering the beach volleyball team, who I've been told is actually doing pretty solid.
Yeah, no. First off, now with FAU football and FAU basketball finishing up their seasons, it really has given me the opportunity to show love to some of the other sports on campus. And there's a lot less media out at the games, which is unfortunate because we have some really good teams on campus. Obviously, everybody knows that FAU.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's
That was on fleek.
All right, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to 102.9 The Game. I'm the Robbie Lastella with my co-host Toby Shulman, Drew Shula, Christian Proscia. This is the Lastella Report, your final hour of programming on this fine Monday evening. Before we went to commercial break, we were in the midst of hearing about Christian's beach volleyball endeavors. I'm sorry you were cut off, Christian, but I'm glad to hear that you were getting to experience the other aspects of FAU, including beach volleyball. You look so mad. I'm sorry, but the spotlight is back on you. Let's hear about beach volleyball.
No, I'm not mad because we got to play those ads so we can get paid. But yeah, no, just being able to cover other FAU sports, baseball, softball, beach volleyball, those have been great experiences, and it's just building connections and showing that, like, hey, school media cares about sports that aren't football and basketball. But anyway, beach volleyball had the Beachboro Bash this weekend. And it was their senior weekend and alumni weekend because they only have 3 home tournaments. They hosted FIU, South Carolina, Tulane, and Florida Gulf Coast, where number 18 beach volleyball, FAU beach volleyball, defeated South Carolina and Florida Gulf Coast this weekend in head-to-head matches. They took a 3-1 or a 3-2 win over one of them and a 4-1 win over the other one. I'm trying to remember which games is which. I'm very tired. But other than that, in FAU athletics, FAU cheer took second in co-ed non-tumbling at nationals this past weekend. Congratulations to cheer. And then softball faces off against UTSA this weekend. They have a promo. $1 dogs, $3 beers. I believe that is on Friday. Make sure to show up. Drew will be attempting this challenge and will be hammered by the second inning.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone was actually able to finish the challenge at the baseball game. I heard it wasn't going too hot. For those,
I heard
Close.
Bartles is taking down the Glizzies this weekend.
All I'm going to say, I may or may not have attempted the 999 challenge, and I may or most definitely may not have finished the challenge. Let's just say it's the latter. I didn't. No, I didn't finish it.
But for revenge this weekend, Drew Shula retaking on the 999 this weekend at softball.
I think it's probably I can't think of a better promotion that FAU has ran. I mean the from a smart aspect, the go to the women's basketball games, get priority entry into the men's. That was solid from like a smart perspective, but this is like all around, like everybody's winning. Everybody, athletics is winning. The vendors are winning. The people, the teams on the field, they're winning, and most importantly, the fans. well, if they finish the challenge, they might be winning or they might wake up with a brutal hangover the next day. We don't know, but count it as a win that night. Um, but what I definitely count as a win and sticking in FAU athletics, finally, after uh, weeks, I want to say, of just waiting for any type of basketball related news. Well, we don't have many players. We have Trey Carroll. Shout out Trey Money Carroll, who loves Boca Raton per his Twitter. We got some coaches. We got 4 coaches announced to us. Depending on who you want to give the first credit to, Jeff Goodman got it. But I saw them. I saw them all at the spring game. So I put that out there. Couldn't confirm they were the coaching staff, but Jeff Goodman confirmed all but 2 of the coaches today. The 2 he did not confirm, and we won't talk about yet. They're still in the NBA season. You can go check out Bleacher Brothers Twitter for those names. Won't mention them on here. But what we will talk about tonight, we'll talk about the 4 confirmed names. First coming back, Todd Abernathy. One of the best players in Ole Miss history, was on Dusty's staff since 2018. International recruiting expert. Probably has something to do with the reason why Montas Kokanis, sorry if I messed up your last name, but a big reason to do with why he is still committed to FAU. Jordan Fee, coming over from D2 Gannon University, former Nova Southeastern assistant right down the road. Isaiah Austin, that's the big one. That's the name that a lot of people will recognize. Former 7-1 Baylor center, diagnosed with Marfan syndrome in his NBA draft medical evaluation. Never got to go pro. Went and played overseas. Did some time in the NBA front office. Did some time as a Baylor graduate assistant, actually student assistant. And so, yeah, he's coming to Paradise, and he'll be working on getting some bigs to Boca for sure, with Vlad Golden and Giancarlo Rosado. Vlad's still in the portal. Giancarlo maybe going back in that portal. Hearing things aren't finalized over there in Charlotte. Nothing has cooked up with that yet, but we'll leave the rumors to rumors. But all I'll say is we're hearing something could be cooking up with that. And then the last name that was announced today was Damon Parker, former GA at Baylor when John Jacobs was on staff. Most recently, he was the director of player development of Furman in South Carolina, right near Clemson, actually. Really solid basketball program. They made some noise in March Madness just a couple years ago. But, yeah, so that's the first 4 names we've gotten. The other 2, as we said, might be some NBA names yet to be seen. But guys, we can go to everybody. Everybody's an FAU basketball fan. Go to Toby, Drew, and then Christian. What's the thoughts on the staff? Todd's back, 3 new names. Isaiah Austin. What's the thoughts?
I'm a fan of the staff. I mean, it's hard not to be. Just the resumes that they each have are impressive. I mean, keeping Abernathy's huge, especially, thinking down the line if Jacobs turns this FAU job into getting a bigger job. I mean, maybe Abernathy comes in and takes it. Who knows? Jordan Fee being with Nova Southeastern, that's one of the best D2s in the country. And then you've got Desmond Parker, who worked with Furman, who, like you said, Robbie, had that stunner in the tournament against Virginia. I mean, they clearly are decent at developing their players. So I really like the guys that we got right now. And if the other 2 that you're talking about are coming from the NBA, I mean, that's only good signs.
Yeah, and you talked about those 4 names. It was Abernathy, Key, Austin, and Desmond Parker. Very happy that we retained Abernathy. I wanted a little bit of continuity from last year's program. But the name that I am really looking at, and I'm very, very excited about, is Jordan Key. Jordan Key, responsible for the single greatest turnaround in NCAA basketball history, bringing last year's, 2 years ago's, their Gannon team from 3-23 to going 32-2. Regardless of whatever division it is, it's impressive. It's impressive to turn around a program like that. And, it's been rumored, I think, for at least maybe 2 weeks, I think that's fair, that Key was coming here. And it just so happened that their best player, who was one of the best Division II basketball players in the country hit the portal at the same exact time, Josh Omajafo. So Owls fans, college basketball fans, look out for that because that man might just be an Owl, all said and done.
Yeah, no, I like everybody said, I love that there's continuity. I love that Abernathy is back. I thought Abernathy originally was going to be our head coach. And I'm happy John Jacobs is our head coach, and I'm happy Coach Abernathy is still in paradise. Because I was worried that I thought he was going to be in Ann Arbor, honestly, with like his rapport with Dusty. So my biggest thing was being able to keep him. However, does Isaiah Austin have any eligibility left? Because we might need a big. So that might be an option we need to explore. If not, Coach Jacobs, we spoke on Saturday. You know, I am a true locker room guy, and you know that I can give out towels better than nobody else in that building. I will average 20 high fives a game, and just know that I have 5 fouls. I have 5 fouls. That's all you need me for. But also looking at the comments, Mr. T with a great take. Toby, are you single? From Ocean Willow. We might sponsor from that, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know if we got to get into that one, man. If you know, you know.
Robbie, I got a question for you.
What's going on?
So what's the word on Kyle Church?
Yeah, last I heard, he's taking another job. I mean, I haven't heard what that job is. Dusty hasn't finalized his staff up at Michigan yet. There's still open spots. He's been with Dusty for a very long time. I'd find it hard to believe that there's an open head coaching job currently that he would take, or that he would even really be offered. I think he goes back and coaches with Dusty for another year, and who knows, if Michigan has a good year this year, then all of a sudden, not only was he Dusty's lead assistant at FAU, where he went to the Final Four, he was lead assistant on Michigan, a Big Ten team, and so that's what I got. I see that I got sidetracked in my answer there because we were debating about bringing it up, and we won't get into it yet. We'll finish up. We might have to close with some WNBA draft talk because our guy Jeff wants to know what's up with the WNBA draft. But yeah, no, with Church, I see him going back on Dusty's staff and staying with Michigan. It would have been ideal for him and Abernathy to both stay here. That's ultimate continuity, and that's getting guys to come back, helping out a lot with that. There's no guarantees right now with any of these guys coming back in the portal. Although I will say, Elijah, he's been in Boca recently. Isaiah Austin, he's a big man. If G does go back in that portal, I don't know. Isaiah Austin was, if you guys don't remember, he was a really good center with Baylor. He was good enough to go one and done. I think it was 2015, 2016. He's a good player. He's a hooper. He's a really knowledgeable guy with a great story. I find it hard for any big man in the portal that if FAU comes with a solid NIL deal and puts that with Isaiah Austin, I don't know how you turn that down as a big man.
So what you're saying is he does have 3 years of eligibility left?
No. So he went back to school as a student assistant. So I think once you join the coaching staff, I think that does in with your eligibility.
Yeah, he's done, Christian.
Damn it.
Don't get your hopes up.
We'll keep that one in the back of the mind. If he suits up, I think Chris Carter will also be suiting up in football. So I think that would be that'd be awesome. Actually, I think we all need Chris
I now really want to see that.
You got something? You were about to say? You look like you were about to. Thought bubble going
there. The thought bubble died. Honestly,
it's okay, Christian. It's getting late. We're winding down here. We only got 15 minutes left on our Monday night edition of the Lastella Report. Wrapping it up here on the FAU coaching staff hires. I think it's a really solid staff. You can't really judge a staff too much based off the names. But, if you're going to do that, which I am going to do because, that's my job, their resumes are really solid. I knew from the jump the Trinity International connection was there between Abernathy and Jacobs. People can say, oh, they weren't there at the same time. I'm sorry, but you don't have an affiliation with basketball at a school like Trinity International and not know everybody else who's ever touched a basketball at that school. So I knew that was a possibility, and the fact that it's developed is amazing. And I really do think Todd's going to be a huge role player for FAU in both the portal, the international landscape, and also trying to get back some of the players that are still in the portal and considering coming back. But we shall see. There is another sport, though, at FAU that's currently in action. It's Toby's area of expertise. I don't know if baseball is actually currently in action tonight, but they're in action. It's the season. Toby, what's going on with FAU baseball? Did they get shellacked by Wichita State?
I mean, they took 1 of 3, so I wouldn't say they got shellacked, but I mean, losing an away series against a team where you're right next to in the conference standings, that's pretty brutal. There's no real way to sugarcoat it. All right, we got to throw that message on there. But yeah, they lost 2 of 3 to Wichita State. The usual guys look good. John Schroeder looked really good. Spencer Rich looked good. Jalen DeBose looked really good. He's hitting 328 right now. So he's not really getting all the props, but when he's in the lineup, he's one of the best hitters. And I feel like he should really be getting a lot more attention than he's been getting. Christian Adams, Emilio Gonzalez, 2 great power hitting bats when they're not home. It seems like they hit better when they're away, and so they both managed to go deep in the series against Wichita State. But they're 6-6 in the conference right now. It's not terrible. They still have every chance in the world to improve upon that. They play 2 teams that are ahead of them still with USF and UTSA, so they have a lot of time to make up ground in the standings. And they've got a series against Tulane this weekend. So if you're going to softball Friday and baseball is still going on, just stroll on in or something. Just come support the team because they really need it. This Tulane team has a 5-7 record in the AAC, so this is huge for them to not only get Tulane away from them in the standings, but to also rise in the standings. So if you want to see FAU play deep into the summer, start coming to these games and start supporting the Owls.
And I don't know. Did you mention you mentioned your guy Spencer Rich in your report there? I think he's coming on. I think he's coming on the Bleacher Brothers show this week to talk to Toby and AJ. So stay tuned to that. Toby, you got anything pressing that's going to go down in that interview, or what are you looking forward to talking about?
I haven't looked that far yet. Right now, I'm just still waiting to confirm that, Spencer is able to get on, as a college athlete. I mean, Christian, you were a college athlete. Just stuff comes up and you're always busy. It's a full-time job. So last time we tried to get him on, unfortunately, he had a prior commitment to go to, but we ended up getting Coach Mack. So if we don't get Spencer, I'm sure, Sam and all the good people at FAU Baseball will help us out. But yeah, I mean, that would be a really cool interview if we get it.
That's what I love about FAU, man. The media availability is here. I'm hoping we get to hear from Spencer because it's always good to hear from the sources themselves. And I'm sure he's going to go on there and give us a good picture of what's going on with FAU baseball. And I think it's another thing with we got to promote that and get them out there to the fans and build up some grassroots fans for FAU baseball like we did basketball. Because I don't know. I think baseball might have less name recognition than basketball did like before 2023. I feel like a lot of people struggle to just grasp onto baseball for whatever reason.
It's just not as entertaining. I mean, to be very blunt, I mean, guys like Nolan Shanuel getting drafted really helps. So hopefully they brought some fans in through that. But I mean, they've got guys who should be getting drafted this year too. So I mean, it'll take some time, but they can succeed. That's the number one thing that'll bring in fans.
FAU baseball, it's building its way up slowly. It's I wouldn't say slowly. It's been a consistent grind for FAU baseball, and now it's another chance for them to try to catapult themselves into the postseason here down the stretch. So we shall see. But while we're on baseball and excitingness, how about them Oakland Athletics? They can put out media guides saying, don't talk about Oakland this, Oakland that, 5,000 people in attendance, you can hear a pin drop. They're one game out of first place. I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. Paul Blackburn is dealing. They got some pitchers. I'm rooting for the A's. That's going to be my team. I don't know if I can be a bandwagoner of the A's though, because sadly, when's the trade deadline? July, June?
Yeah, late July.
Yeah.
Once that comes around, all of these guys who I'm hopping on the bandwagon for, 50-50 shot, they're not even wearing the garnet and gold or whatever their uniforms are. So I don't know. Toby, what do you think about the A's?
I agree with everything you said. I mean, I want to do everything and hop on this bandwagon with you, but I mean, one of the guys that you're talking about is a piece that I want our Yankees to go after. It's Mason Miller out of the bullpen. I mean, this dude, Steven's already got the clip, but he just throws gas. I mean, 103, 104, he'll come at you.
In the land of oil, they're getting a taste of pure octane from Mason Miller.
As Mason Miller keeps pumping the high heat. 3 sliders, and then it has just been a heavy dose of triple digits here. Swing and a miss on it. The 1-2, that's fouled off. And that ball's heading foul.
104.
Here's the pitch. Staying alive for Wyatt Langford. It can't be comfortable. Right here. Will continue.
Good at bat from Wyatt Langford, though, honestly.
Missing.
Would not be putting
Here's the pitch in the air. Skied high. Geloff will put the ball in his glove, and that is all she wrote in Arlington.
Not just Mason Miller, though, Robbie. It's
Series
a lot of
win
other
for the
pieces, too.
Oakland
They got
A's.
Brent
They do it
Rooker,
shutout style, 1-0.
Recalled up. He finished second in stolen bases last year, so the fact he's in AAA is kind of ridiculous. But, yeah, I mean, not to take up too much of our last few minutes here with baseball, but, I mean, the A's look good. They're fun to watch, and in their last year in Oakland, I mean, why not try and make a push for the postseason if you're these young guys in Oakland who have probably the worst life as a professional athlete right now.
Rooted in Sacramento. No, we're rooted in Oakland. Dang it, that's what we're rooting for. We're not in Sacramento. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I remember when the A's had just in like 2016. Look it up. I swear that place was packed. Yoenis Cespedes was hitting monstrous home runs with John Lester on the mound. That might have been like 2013. 2016 might have been too late. But nevertheless, the A's were good just a couple of years ago. So there's fans there. I just Oakland. It's all burning down. It's all over.
Did y'all see the TikTok? It went viral the other day. Somebody caught the A's. They were all flying Southwest.
To
whatever game.
No.
They don't even got it. They're flying Southwest.
I'm surprised they didn't stick them on the bus.
Yeah, like when you're talking about being like a professional athlete for like that, like you just got to feel for those dudes. Because you know the Yankees, you know them boys are not flying Southwest.
I think Bleacher Brothers. I think we fly Delta. I mean, I think we do better.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Like I don't know what's going on over there in Oakland, but it's not good. Not good at all. Wave the red flag. It's not good. But the play on the field is good, and that's what they got to capitalize on. So, but looking at play on the field, the Yankees lost tonight, and I think Toby, that's the beginning of the curse. It was announced like hours before this episode, put me in a horrible mood. If I seem upbeat right now to you guys, it's all a facade. I'm actually depressed. John Sterling, the great radio announcer for many, many years with the Yankees since I think 1980s, he announced his retirement abruptly this afternoon, and I don't even know how to feel about it. It was the first announcer I really dived into, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is interesting. Announcers are a dime a dozen. Everyone can sound the same. Everyone can have a melodic voice or a whatever it is that makes an announcer an announcer. But I'm sorry, there is never going to, and if there is, respect to you, I'll listen to you. But there's never going to be another announcer who goes out there and makes a personalized home run call for every single player. It's just that got me hooked as a 10-year-old, and I always respected him for it. Even when sometimes I'm like, what is he saying? I don't know. Toby, you grew up with him, right?
It's a sad day for a Yankee fan. Very abrupt. Thought he would want like a farewell tour or something for someone as legendary as him, but yeah, like you said, just put me in a bad mood. Not too happy about it. Don't really know what the future of Yankee broadcast is going to be like. So, or Yankee radio too. I mean, I don't even know.
Justin Shackle taking over on, I guess it's 640 down here. I don't know what it. WFAN up in New York. Justin Shackle and Emmanuel. I always forget his last name. Him and Justin will do play-by-play with Susan. At least we still have Susan. Susan Waldman still holding it down for us as the great color analyst for Yankee baseball on the radio. But I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever go out of my way at least to listen to a Yankee radio broadcast ever again. I don't know. Sorry, Justin Shackle. Nothing against you, man. It's just the radio itself is not very accessible, and now without somebody like John Sterling, it's going to make it hard to turn that dial.
Mm-hmm.
But we are winding down here. Final minute of the Lastella report on this Monday night here. Guys, any final thoughts? FAU coaching search, baseball, spring game, Masters. What are any final recollections, boys?
Do we touch on the WNBA draft for our man Jeff here?
Caitlin Clark, number 1 overall pick. Indiana Fever are taking over the WNBA next year. At least I hope so. If they don't, they didn't capitalize on the fact that they just got one of the best players, period, the end, to come out of any draft in a very long time.
Yep. One thing I have to say we didn't cover, we talked about the Athletics, but how about that Astros downfall?
I'm here for it.
People said you have to be a sick individual to be preying on their downfall. Well, I'm in the hospital right now because
throw my mask on.
Christian, last thought before we get on out of here.
Have a great night, everybody.
You heard it there from Christian. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your Monday night. This was the Lastella Report. For Toby, Drew, and Christian, I'm Robbie. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. And tomorrow morning, you got Pete Shepard waking you up on 102.9 The Game.